Hello, everyone, and welcome to our project Death on a Paper. My name is Ichigonian, and this is the very first video of the series Bullying 101, where we will be talking all things bullying and peer abuse, the definition of the word, how it is misused and exploited, and the criminalization of bullying in different countries, and why people don't see it as what it is, a form of abuse. First, I want to apologize for the absolutely horrid nasal voice that I'm having currently. I've been sick for a couple of days, just the regular flu, nothing else, but it's just prolonged itself, and I'm like done. I'm frustrated. And I want to keep making things. So I'm just gonna record the voiceover now, and you're just gonna have to deal with this horrible voice. I'm sorry about that, but that's just the way that things are right now. Yeah. Anyways. This time, we will be starting with the topic of how the internet made people forget what even constitutes as bullying. We'll be diving deep into the online rhetoric that trivializes bullying, misuses the word in contexts where it doesn't belong, and invalidates those of us who have experienced the real deal and been forever harmed by it. As the topic is a bit on the heavier side, I want to give a trigger warning for this video. I'll be talking about things such as victim blaming, trauma, invalidation, online harassment, and condoning of abuse. Always make sure that you are in the right headspace to be listening to my heavier videos. Before we begin, I want to say a few things about today's piece as usual. This illustration is called Boxes, and it's for an upcoming collection titled Trauma. As my Instagram account has been gaining more attraction, which you should be following by now at this point, I've received a whole bunch of weird comments on my posts, which have since been deleted because my account is not a space for abusers to spread their abusive takes. Some of them have had something to do with the person's own experiences with bullying, and because what they went through is nothing like what I had to experience as a child, as stated by these people themselves, I wanted to shoot back at them with this piece. The boxes here are labeled as the types of crimes and abuses people did to me growing up on a daily basis. My experience with bullying is extremely severe for its longevity and its complexity. So while someone else might have experienced bullying in the form of name calling or not having any friends and have not been traumatized by those experiences, they don't get the right to say, I shouldn't be traumatized because they know nothing about me and my story. All of this ties back to the topic of today's video, so now with all of that intro blabbering out of the way, let's begin. Let me start this off by saying, bullying has a definition. People like to argue that it doesn't, that it's a vague nothing word that doesn't really mean anything specific. I've had this same argument with multiple people online in my time, and no matter how hard they try to convince me otherwise, there is no convincing me because I know this to be a fact. There is a clear definition out there, and if you don't know it personally, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I've done my fair share of reading on bullying as a social phenomenon, mainly through the academic acclaimed findings of Kristiina Salmivalli, the most well-known bullying researcher and professor of psychology in Finland. She has written her doctoral thesis on bullying in Finnish schools, so she knows what's up, to say the least. I wanted to preface this from the get-go so that we're all on the same page. I'm going to make another video on the definition itself in the future, really dissecting it further but for the sake of this video, let's keep it brief. Bullying is defined as repetitive and reoccurring malicious harassment and degrading behavior that is systematically targeted toward a singled out individual who is below the attacker in group hierarchy and therefore unable to protect themselves. The main three elements that bullying has to have are power imbalance, systematic nature, and targeting a specific individual. Obviously, there is more to this definition, but this is the gist of it, as defined by Salmivalli in her research. This is not what the internet talks about, however. Bullying has become such an empty buzzword in online spaces that it has resulted in watering down a descriptor of abuse and, unfortunately, things like trauma invalidation and not believing victims who choose to come forward with their experiences. The internet has its own warped perspective of bullying, one that is not founded on anything substantial, anything reliable, or relevant. It is only a nothing burger that people online like to use as a scapegoat, as a means to get away from uncomfortable, often confrontational situations. Let's talk about the internet's perspective of bullying then. What is it really like and how it differs from the definition we just discussed previously? One of the most common instances where you can find people throwing around the word is when there's any kind of drama involved. Drama, as an online phenomenon and social media content form, is its own beast that we will talk about in later videos. But for now, the thing that matters is the significant overlap between bullying as a word and online drama situations. Usually there's two or more people involved in these conflicts, and one of them tends to be the initiator. I'm not going to use any kind of examples for now, but instead talk on a more broader scale. One of the parties involved accuses another party of doing something hurtful or problematic, making it a public matter by posting about it online. Then the accused responds to these accusations. There are two different ways people tend to go about this. The first one is doubling down and not admitting to their wrongdoings, and the second one is the dreaded bullying card. I am being bullied by this bigger creator. This is a targeting campaign. They're attacking me for basically nothing. The bullying card is used as a means to get out of an uncomfortable situation. Someone is calling you out, holding you accountable for your more or less dubious actions, and instead of taking the L and moving on, you use a word that's a descriptor of abuse in order to protect yourself and make outsiders feel bad for you. Slimy behavior. This is not only pathetic in the way that the person is not taking accountability for their actions, but also in the fact that this kind of rhetoric has a direct impact on the way we feel about the word bullying itself. Because if people just use it to excuse themselves and wash their hands clean off the shit they are smeared with, then with the general consensus, the general mindset toward this word gets tarnished as well. When descriptors of abuse are used wrongfully, it is damaging to the victims of that type of abuse. You can apply this logic to other situations as well. Do you guys remember the late 2000s YouTube culture when it was completely normal and okay for gaming YouTubers especially to joke about rape time? This joke was very common in conventions, like anime conventions as well during that time. Sexual harassment used to be a big joke, but then the Me Too movement changed that. The language we use does matter. Calling yourself OCD for being tidy and clean makes a mockery out of those with the actual condition. Calling someone delusional for thinking too highly of themselves is damaging to those with real psychotic symptoms. And calling someone holding you accountable bullying is damaging to the real victims of such abuse. There are many ways in which the word bullying gets misused online. It is not only about cowards wanting to get out of confrontational situations, but it is also about throwing the word around as if it doesn't mean anything to the speaker. Now, in this context, we have to talk about a language phenomenon called hyperboles. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, a hyperbole is a way of speaking that makes someone or something sound bigger, better, more, etc. than they are. In more simpler terms, a hyperbole is a way of exaggerating, a rhetorical device used in order to convey strong emotions and the like. As someone who studied linguistics, I know that semantics are not everything, and that it is impossible to dictate the way in which others use their own lexicon. Whenever I've brought this topic up, I've been met with comments such as, "You can't affect the way other people talk," and while that is true, I have never even tried to do that. The only thing I am aiming for with this argument is for people to stop and think if their words actually matter in a broader context. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion after all, and this is mine, laced with personal experience and a bit of academic reading as well. The way some people use the word bullying online is hyperbolic. They use it to convey a feeling of being singled out and attacked wrongfully, even when that is not the case. In the same vein, there are a lot of folks out there who use words such as traumatic in a hyperbolic manner. My opinion on this is that it is all harmful. Using words related to trauma, abuse, and mental illnesses is detrimental to those of us who have actually experienced these things and are now struggling to get recognized. I know not everyone will agree with me on this, and that's completely okay. The only goal I have in mind is that we start with a conversation. Let's talk about these things instead of attacking each other and being pointlessly volatile in our words. Communication is key to so many things in life, and that rings true here too. Again, DBT is fucking fantastic, cannot recommend enough. I'm getting a bit sidetracked here, sorry about that. In any case, my opinion is that whenever the word bullying, a descriptor of abuse, gets thrown around as an empty buzzword, it takes away from the legitimate meaning of the word, dwindles it down into something insignificant, and thus directly harms those who have been subjected to said abuse. If we call literally every single unpleasant interaction with other people bullying, of course people like me are gonna have a hard-ass time being taken seriously, because what the fuck do you mean you're traumatized by someone calling you ugly? You know what I mean? The online discourse surrounding bullying is directly responsible for a lot of the trauma and validation we victims face on a daily basis. The overuse of the word in a hyperbolic settings has made people forget what the word actually even means, to the point that now we have a bunch of uneducated people online claiming that bullying is whatever you want it to be, that it doesn't have a definition, and therefore it doesn't have to be taken seriously. While language evolves naturally and semantics aren't absolutely everything, pretending as if that evolution has no impact on us as individual people as well as a society at large is undermining the very real importance of human language itself. Language doesn't exist in a vacuum. It lives in symbiosis with us, and it affects us as much as we affect it. There is no right or wrong way of living in this symbiosis. Not even this stupid YouTube video is here to tell you what is right or wrong. You make that decision for yourself at the end of the day. I just think that we should be more aware of the way we use language and what kind of impact it has on us and the people around us. Because sometimes the pen truly is mightier than the sword. Okay, that's it for today's video. And again, I apologize for my voice and how snotty I sounded and nasally. I'm very sorry about that. I hope that I'll recover soon from this bitch-ass flu because I hate it here. Anyways, thank you for tuning into the very first video on the series Bullying 101. Please make sure to tell me what you think of the series as well as the topics discussed today. Do you agree with any of my lukewarm takes? What kind of thoughts do you have on the whole hyperbolic usage of mental health related words? Have you encountered any random influencer trying to get out of a tricky situation by claiming the bullying card? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, please make sure to like and subscribe. I hope you'll stick with me here for a long time. The links to my other socials like Instagram and whatever, and also my blog, you can find them all in the description below. I also have a small art shop powered by coffee. I sell stickers of my characters and their symbols and whatever, and also art prints over there on that shop. Please go and have a look at those as well if you feel so inclined. Just click the link to my coffee in the description box down below. Yeah, I hope to see you guys very soon in my next video, whatever that may be. My name is Ichigunia, and this has been our project Death on a Paper.